Welcome back to my channel. Today's story will shake the very foundation of what you thought you knew about the sister wives family. They thought the cameras were off. They thought the secrets were buried. But in court, nothing stays hidden forever. When Meri Brown took the stand, her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of truth she'd carried alone for far too long. A single folder pressed against her chest like a shield. Inside it, the past 7 years of her silence. No one, not even Kody Brown, could have predicted what was about to unfold. Behind her calm, measured tone was a storm ready to erupt. One that would expose betrayal, manipulation, and deceit that shattered the illusion of the perfect plural family. The courtroom was ice cold, but the chill didn't come from the air conditioning. It came from the tension. Every eye was fixed on the Browns. Kody sat at the defense table, jaw locked, hands twitching against the wood. To his left, Robyn, her face pale, eyes red but dry. Behind them, Christine, Janelle, and Meri sat apart. 3 women once bound by faith, now divided by truth. Years of building, years of breaking, it all led to this. The judge's gavel came down. This court is now in session. But this wasn't a case about money or even custody. It was something far deeper. The accusation, emotional fraud. A gray area in law, but a devastating one in spirit. Meri brought the case. Christine and Janelle supported it. And Kody? He never saw it coming. The prosecution began with a single haunting question. What is a family, really? The room went silent. Even the lights seemed to hum louder. Kody's lawyer objected. Irrelevant. The judge's reply cut like glass. Overruled. Then Christine took the stand. She moved with quiet strength, pain in her eyes but power in her steps. He promised us unity, she said. He promised love, trust, fairness. But behind closed doors, it was manipulation. Divide and conquer. Kody laughed, loud enough for the microphones to catch it. The judge shot him a glare. Christine didn't flinch. He told me to handle Meri, to distract her. He said Robyn was better for the family image. And when I stood up to him, he withdrew love like a weapon. You don't need fists to hurt someone. Silence can do far worse. The room gasped. Robyn froze. Meri's hands shook in her lap. Then came Exhibit B, a series of late-night texts. She'll believe anything if you cry. She's too emotional. Just make her feel heard. He was talking about Meri. Gasps filled the courtroom. The judge slammed the gavel. Order! But the damage was done. Then it was Meri's turn. Her walk to the stand was slow, steady, every step releasing another chain that had bound her heart. This isn't revenge, she said softly. This is release. She looked at Kody, then at Robyn. I stayed for the children. For the illusion. But I was misled, told to be silent. Pushed aside so others could shine. Then from her trembling hands, a folder. May I submit this as evidence? The prosecutor asked. The judge opened it. What is this? My journals, Meri whispered. From the last 7 years. The room froze. Every page, pain and ink. Nights of loneliness. Therapy sessions where Robyn spoke for her. Christmases where Kody never showed up. Moments where she was told to fix her attitude instead of her broken heart. It wasn't betrayal. It was slow suffocation. Robyn turned ghost white. Kody whispered furiously to his lawyer. The judge called a recess. As the crowd stirred, Christine approached Meri. No words, just a gentle squeeze of her hand. Outside, headlines exploded. Sister wives implode in court. Emotional fraud trial begins. But inside it wasn't about headlines. It was about truth. Then, the twist no one saw coming. The back door opened. A woman entered. Short hair, dark suit, clipboard in hand. She whispered to the bailiff. The judge returned moments later. We have a surprise witness. Kody turned, his face drained of color. The woman removed her glasses, looked him dead in the eye, and said, I'm here because Kody Brown paid me to lie. The room exploded, gasps, shouts, reporters scrambling. The judge's gavel couldn't silence it. My name is Lisa Cartwright, she said firmly. I worked with the Brown family for 4 years. Production team, seasons 12 through 16. Robyn stared ahead, jaw tight. Kody shifted, visibly sweating. Lisa continued. In 2018, Kody offered me $10,000 in cash to make sure certain footage never aired. Footage showing fights between him and Meri. He said it wasn't the image TLC wanted. Meri froze. What footage? She whispered. Lisa's answer hit like a hammer. You crying on the porch, begging him to explain why he ignored you for 2 weeks. It was raw, real, and they erased it. The courtroom went dead silent. Sometimes the worst betrayals, Lisa said softly, aren't the lies we're told. They're the truths that get buried. Christine buried her face in her hands. Janelle's eyes filled with tears. Meri just stared ahead, silent but free, and Lisa wasn't finished. He also deleted footage of Robyn coaching Meri before an interview, telling her not to mention the separation. Kody stood right beside her, nodding. Meri blinked rapidly. I thought I was paranoid, she whispered. You weren't, Lisa replied. The truth was finally on record. And for the first time in years, the silence that had protected Kody Brown shattered. So I'll leave you with this. If Meri had walked away sooner, would this courtroom even exist today? Tell me what you think in the comments. Was Kody the victim or the mastermind? Comments. Was Kody the victim or the mastermind? If you thought the last session ended with a bang, this one will leave you breathless. Because what unfolded next inside that courtroom didn't just expose control. It revealed the invisible chains that had held these women for years. The air was dense. You could feel it. Heavy, suffocating, electric. Lisa's words still hung like smoke in the room, refusing to dissipate. You were being controlled. It echoed. In every corner, in every mind, in every heart that had once believed this family was built on love. When Lisa stepped down, silence followed her like a shadow. Even the reporters seemed afraid to breathe. Then the judge's voice sliced through the tension. Christine Brown, please return to the stand. Christine rose, slower this time, but her resolve burned stronger. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. The prosecutor handed her a printed email. Mrs. Brown, can you confirm this message as your own? Yes, Christine said softly. I wrote it the day I decided to leave. The paper trembled slightly in her hands. Please read the highlighted portion aloud. Christine swallowed hard. Her voice carried through the courtroom. This is not plural marriage. This is a dictatorship. Robyn gives the orders. Kody enforces them. And the rest of us, we suffer. I can't teach my daughters that obedience is love. The words cut like a blade. Then, thud, Kody's hand slammed down on the defense table. That's not what happened, he barked. The judge's glare could have frozen fire. One more outburst, Mr. Brown, and you'll be escorted out. Robyn leaned toward him, whispering something quick and desperate. He shook his head, his jaw clenched so tight the muscles quivered. This wasn't a marriage anymore. It was a battlefield, and the war had finally been named. The prosecutor leaned forward. Christine, did Robyn ever say anything regarding Kody's intentions for Meri? Christine hesitated, just a breath, before nodding. Yes, in 2021, she told me. Her voice cracked. Kody wants Meri out, but he's afraid of the backlash, so he's waiting for her to quit first. The courtroom froze. Meri's eyes flared, shock and hurt mixing into one silent scream. You never told me that, she whispered. Christine turned toward her, trembling. I didn't want to destroy you more than he already had. I thought I was protecting you. I was wrong. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet, it was grief itself. Even the judge's pen paused mid-motion. Then Janelle stood. No one called her, she simply rose, the room instinctively parting for her calm. I've stayed quiet for too long, she began. I thought silence was strength. That pretending we were united was better than admitting we were broken. But I have sons, who watched their father ignore them. Daughters, who were told not to make a fuss when their hearts were breaking. Her voice shook, not from weakness, but from fury long restrained. That silence cost us. She pulled a photo from her folder, a small one, worn at the edges. This was from Gabe's birthday. Kody didn't come. He didn't even call. When I asked him why, he said, she looked down, tears glimmering, I don't celebrate pity parties. The audience gasped audibly. Christine's lips parted, shaking her head in disbelief. You can hear heartbreak, Janelle whispered, not in screams, but in the silence after someone says something like that. Then softer, almost to herself. That's when I realized he wasn't just failing as a husband, he was failing as a father. The judge called for a 10-minute recess. But nobody moved. Not a soul. The court sat frozen in that collective ache. Outside, cameras whirred. Headlines were already blazing across screens. Robyn in the hot seat. Christine exposes Kody's control. Meri's 7 years of silence broken. Inside, however, truth had its own echo. Slow, heavy, unstoppable. Then an unexpected voice I'd like to testify. All heads turned. It was Robyn. The judge raised an eyebrow. Under oath? Yes, she said, her hands trembling. Christine and Janelle exchanged wary glances. Meri folded her arms, her expression unreadable. Robyn's steps toward the stand were slow, like walking toward fire you started but can't control. She faced the room, shoulders trembling, but her voice clear. I know what I look like to you. The manipulative wife. The favorite. The downfall. But I never wanted to replace anyone. Her voice wavered, but she refused to cry. I loved them. I still do. I thought we were a team. But I played along when I shouldn't have. I told Meri to stay quiet. I told Christine to be patient. I ignored Janelle's pain. The prosecutor leaned forward. Why? Because I was afraid. Afraid of what? Robyn turned. Her eyes locked on Kody. Him! The courtroom gasped again. Kody's face drained of color. Sometimes, Robyn said, the people around you aren't protecting you. They're protecting themselves from you. She went on, her voice raw but steady. Kody dictated everything. Who was loved? Who was ignored? Who stayed? Who was cut off? I didn't challenge him, because I knew what would happen if I did. Then Meri spoke, quiet but sharp. But you gained from it, didn't you? Robyn met her gaze, tears finally spilling. Yes, and I live with that shame every single day. The judge called for order, but no one would ever forget that exchange. When Robyn stepped down, the courtroom shifted, literally. It was as though the power had changed hands, not by law, but by truth. Then the prosecutor rose. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to introduce one final piece of evidence. She held up a phone, a voicemail, dated February 2022, unreleased, unheard until now. She pressed play. Kody's voice filled the courtroom. I don't care what Meri says. She's irrelevant. Let her cry. She'll come crawling back when she realizes she has nothing else. She always does. The sound stopped, and so did time. Meri's face crumbled. The first tear of the day rolled down her cheek. She covered her mouth, shaking silently. The narrator's voice could have said it, but the courtroom felt it. The worst betrayal isn't when someone leaves. It's when they stay and convince you that your pain is your fault. The judge's gavel came down. Court is adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow. New evidence will be unsealed. As the room emptied, Meri didn't move. Janelle approached quietly, resting a hand on her shoulder. Christine joined her in silent solidarity. Even Robyn lingered nearby, unsure, trembling. And Kody? He sat alone. No wives, no allies. Only silence. Tomorrow, sealed files would open, and the truth inside them could destroy everything that remained of the Brown legacy. So I'll leave you with this. Hearing that voicemail, does Kody Brown deserve redemption or exposure? Drop your thoughts below. Because tomorrow, everything changes. Your thoughts below. Because tomorrow, everything changes. What you're about to hear isn't just another courtroom scene. It's the sound of a dynasty collapsing. The buzzing static between each tape wasn't just noise. It was the sound of walls crumbling, of illusions dissolving, of truth clawing its way out from decades of silence. As the first recording echoed through the courtroom, Kody's voice pierced the air, cold, dismissive, and calculated. Meri's a liability, he said. She brings the mood down. TLC doesn't want sad wives. They want happy stories. His words weren't shouted, but they carried a cruelty that hit harder than any scream. Meri blinked, her lips trembling, trying to hold back the flood within her. Sometimes hearing the truth spoken aloud hurts more than living the lie in silence. Then came the second tape. Robyn's voice, eyes shaking, broken, human. Please, Kody, don't make me do this, she sobbed. I can't pretend anymore on television. They'll despise me. Kody's reply, a dagger cloaked in indifference. Then cry prettier. The courtroom froze. Gasps rippled like aftershocks through the room. Even the bailiff turned his gaze away. Christine's jaw hung open, her face a portrait of disbelief. Robyn buried her face in her hands, weeping softly. I didn't want that on the air, she whispered, trembling. The judge leaned forward. Mrs. Brown, are you verifying this tape is genuine? Tears streaming down her cheeks, Robyn nodded. Yes, word for word. The prosecutor hesitated, his tone lowering as if he already knew the devastation that would follow. We have one more tape. A hush fell as the third tape began to play. The static gave way to Kody's voice, cold, pragmatic, detached. I can no longer love Meri, he confessed. I can no longer even look at her. But if I divorce her legally, it'll destroy the show. we'll lose our livelihood. So I'll force her to leave on her own terms. The reaction was instant, a shock, horror, disbelief. Meri's eyes widened, a storm of agony and comprehension warring within her. Christine reached out, her hand trembling as it found Meri's shoulder. Across the room, Kody lowered his head, silent, trapped in the wreckage of his own design. Because it's one thing to be unloved, and another entirely to realize your heartbreak was someone else's strategy. The judge exhaled heavily. We'll take a short recess before cross-examination. But before the gavel could strike, Robyn rose to her feet. Her voice cracked, trembling with guilt and exhaustion. Your Honor, I can't stay silent anymore. The courtroom went still. Cameras clicked. Every breath was suspended. I know I was involved, she said. I said things I shouldn't have. I lied to protect him. I thought I was saving our family. But all I was saving was his ego. She turned toward Kody. You told me to smile while the others cried. You told me to speak what you couldn't, and when the world hated me, you let them. You hid behind me. Kody's face flushed red. That's not true. You're twisting— Stop! She cried. Stop gaslighting me here, too! The room erupted in shock. Gasps, whispers, a few muffled sobs. The judge raised a hand. Order! But Robyn's composure shattered completely. He made me monitor Meri's texts, she said, her voice breaking. He told me it was for her well-being, but he just wanted to know if she was talking to the press. Kody slammed his fist on the table. You don't know what you're saying! But Robyn's eyes were fierce now, no longer afraid. I do. And when the truth finally comes out, it doesn't whisper. It screams. Pandemonium followed. Reporters scribbled furiously. Cameras flashed. Meri sat frozen, pale as marble. The pain on her face was unbearable. Not just betrayal, but the realization that the sisterhood she once believed in had been an illusion. Christine's tears glimmered, but there was fire behind them, vindication. Kody's lawyer whispered frantically, trying to contain the fallout, but it was too late. The image of control was gone, shredded in public view. The judge's gavel cracked against the wood. Enough! Order! Silence returned, brittle, suffocating. Mrs. Brown, the judge said to Robyn, do you have any evidence of what you've just alleged? Robyn nodded weakly. I do. She held up a small leather notebook, the same one clutched in her hands all day. These are messages between Kody and me. From 2020, he told me to send Meri messages about spiritual healing, to distract her, while he moved family money into accounts only he could access. The room gasped. Christine mouthed, "Oh my God." The prosecutor stepped forward. Your Honor, this connects directly to the sealed financial records. Kody's lawyer shot up. Objection! Those records are private. The judge's eyes hardened. Not for long. Secrets have deadlines, Mr. Brown, and today, every one of yours just expired. Kody's face turned ghostly white. His empire, his image, his control, all slipping through his fingers. Meri's voice came as a whisper, barely audible but piercing. All those years, and I still defended you. Janelle stood steady and sheer. You don't have to anymore. The silence that followed was thick, final. The fantasy was dead. The judge flipped through the papers. With this new evidence, court will adjourn until morning. We will determine if the defense deliberately withheld financial documents. But before she could strike the gavel, a clerk whispered something urgently. The judge frowned. Repeat that. The clerk handed her a folder. This just arrived from the Federal Financial Bureau. It's about the same accounts. The judge read one page and froze. Her eyes widened. This isn't possible. What is it? The prosecutor demanded. The judge looked straight at Kody. These accounts weren't just in your name. They were in Robyn's. The room exploded. Reporters shouted, cameras flashed, chaos surged. Robyn stumbled back. No, that's not true. But the documents told another story, complete with her signature. She collapsed, sobbing. He told me they were for the children. Kody looked away, saying nothing. Silent, cornered, finished. And that's the truth about control. Once it's gone, it never leaves quietly. The judge brought down the gavel. Court adjourned pending further notice. The room emptied in chaos. Reporters ran for the doors, phones ringing, headlines already forming. Meri remained seated, staring at Kody, not with tears but with resolve. The kind that marks the end of one story and the beginning of another. Robyn wept into her hands. Christine leaned toward Janelle, whispering, It's over. Janelle shook her head slowly. No, it's just beginning. As the judge's doors closed, the flash of cameras burned through the glass, the final image of a broken empire. Kody's kingdom was collapsing in real time. The sister wives' fantasy is shattered. And tomorrow, when the judge opens those files, the truth inside will rewrite everything. Now I'll ask you this. After Robyn's confession, do you believe she deserves forgiveness? Or justice? Tell me what you think in the comments below. The sun shone on the courthouse that morning like a bright spotlight. Inside, the courtroom was silent, filled with tension. Everyone waited for something that could not be undone. After 3 long days of emotional testimony, betrayal, and heartbreak, one question remained. What happens when the whole family was built on lies? Kody entered alone. His face was hard, but his steps showed he was barely holding himself together. Meri, Christine, and Janelle sat side by side, calm but serious. A few minutes later, Robyn walked in with her lawyer. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her spirit tired. The judge didn't waste time. "We will begin by opening the financial records," she said, holding a folder labeled Exhibit 47. The folder also contained DNA documents once used for an adoption request in 2016. Kody's body stiffened. Everyone saw it. The prosecutor started reading. In the last 8 years, Mr. Brown has moved over $417,000 into private accounts, money that was supposed to be for family expenses. Christine gasped. "That was our therapy fund." Janelle whispered. "He said we couldn't afford Maddie's college tuition." Meri didn't move. "He told me my business account was too independent for family funds." The truth wasn't loud, it was in the numbers. And those numbers screamed. Robyn jumped up, panicked. "I didn't know. I thought it was income." The judge stared at her. "You co-signed 3 of those accounts, Mrs. Brown." Robyn's voice shook. "He told me to. He said it was for taxes, for the children's future." Kody didn't even look at her. Christine said coldly, "You knew. You just didn't ask questions." Robyn cried harder. "No, I trusted him." The judge leaned forward. "Trust is not a defense, Mrs. Brown." The silence that followed was heavy. Even the sound of papers moving felt like thunder. Then came the big moment. The clerk handed the judge Exhibit 47. Inside were DNA test results. One set was for the adoption. Another sealed document had never been submitted. The judge opened it, read quietly, and looked up. "Mrs. Brown," she said to Meri, "did you request these documents in 2022? Meri stood. Her voice was calm but trembling. "Yes, I needed confirmation of paternity. I never planned to bring it to court." "But you did," the judge replied. Kody suddenly looked nervous. The test shows that one of Robyn's children, who Kody claimed was his biological child, is not his. The courtroom exploded in gasps. Meri covered her mouth. Christine whispered, "Oh my God." Janelle froze. Kody shouted, "That's a lie!" Robyn's voice cracked. "I don't understand." But the judge continued firmly. "This test is from July 2022, done by a private lab at Meri Brown's request." Kody turned red with anger. "You invaded our privacy." Meri replied softly but firmly, "You invaded our trust." The courtroom wasn't just a trial anymore. It was Judgment Day. Robyn broke down crying. It was before Kody. It was one time. He said he'd raise the baby as his. Meri shook her head. "You let him lie to us. Every time we questioned him, he said it was for Robyn's kids, and you let him." Robyn collapsed into her chair, weeping. The prosecutor didn't need to say anything more. The truth was already out. Christine stood. Her voice shook, but her eyes were strong. "We were told to smile, to perform, to pretend everything was fine, all for Kody's image. He didn't just break our hearts. He used our pain for profit." Kody yelled, "You all got paid too!" Christine looked straight at him. "We were a family. You were running a business." Then Janelle stood. Calm, steady. "I defended you for years. I said you were stressed, overwhelmed. But you weren't. You just wanted control, not love." She turned to the judge. "Your Honor, I support Meri's case. The emotional fraud was intentional, and Robyn helped." Robyn gasped but said nothing. Meri looked at Janelle. "You're really doing this with me?" Janelle nodded. Christine stepped forward. "All the way." Kody shouted, "This is a setup!" The judge slammed her gavel. "Enough, Mr. Brown." He banged his fist on the table. "This is betrayal." Robyn looked at him with tears. "Now you know how it feels." The judge called for a break. The session ended. Kody sat alone. This time, the power wasn't his. Meri stood and walked out, followed by Christine, Janelle, and finally, Robyn. The next morning, the final hearing began. The courtroom was full. Meri sat in the center with Christine and Janelle beside her. Robyn entered quietly. No makeup, no jewelry. The judge began. We are here for closing arguments in the case of Meri Brown versus Kody Brown for emotional fraud and financial deception. She added, the court also accepts new testimony from Robyn Brown. Robyn stood nervously. Kody stared straight ahead. The prosecutor spoke first. This case is not about fame. It's about truth. 4 women trusted one man and were repaid with manipulation. Kody Brown turned love into control and faith into a tool. She ended, he called them wives but treated them like employees. Then came Kody's turn. His lawyer argued he was overwhelmed, that he tried to love equally. But Kody's face showed no regret, only anger. When asked for his final words, Kody said coldly, I did everything for that family. I gave them faith, money, a life. If they regret it now, that's on them. Meri didn't move. Christine whispered, that's who he really is. The judge took a deep breath. This court finds that Kody Brown, through manipulation and financial deceit, caused emotional harm to Meri, Christine, and Janelle Brown. Gasps filled the room. The court awards Meri Brown $192,000 in damages. Mr. Brown is also banned from using any footage or likeness of the 3 women in future projects. Christine sighed in relief. Janelle held Meri's hand. Kody stayed frozen. Some men don't break, they just fade away. Then Meri stood. Your Honor, I have something to say. The judge nodded. Meri spoke quietly. I wanted justice. But more than that, I want peace. I forgive him, not for him, but for myself. For a moment, Kody's eyes softened. Then he looked away. The judge closed the case. Court is adjourned. Reporters rushed out. But the women stayed seated, silent. 3 wives who were now free. Outside, the cameras turned not to Kody, but to them, walking together stronger than ever. Weeks later, Meri moved to a quiet cabin in Montana. Christine remarried. Janelle started helping other women leave polygamy. Robyn lived quietly in Utah, away from the spotlight. And Kody? He disappeared from TV. But the world remembered the courtroom, not the show, not the weddings, the day the sister wives stood up and took their stories back. So here's the question. Do you think Kody ever truly loved them, or did he only love the control he had over them? Let me know in the comments below.